learn, and I showed you the apple cutters. We've got here 3 of them. I'm going to show you how I made these. And I try to explain every single step that I take. Like if I'm going to click somewhere, you're going to hear me say, go here, go there, click there. And I tell every single step. And when I do a tutorial, it's comprehensive from beginning to end. I try not to leave anything out because I don't like it when I go to YouTube to watch a video to learn something new, like brand new to me, and they will forget to tell where they clicked. And I'm like, wait, where's the cursor? Where's the cursor? And so I really try to explain every step. So if I go too fast, which I try not to, but if I do, just tell Debbie to have me slow down. That doesn't offend me at all. I want to go at a pace that you all can follow along because this is going to be a beginner tutorial, but I'm also going to show you some other things in Design Space. If you use it, you'll see me maneuvering and manipulating these images to create these cutters. And it's really fun. And then so I also made a school bus cookie cutter. I did a lot of cookie cutters for this, but so Thursday in the club, I'll be doing a tutorial continuing with these images, and we're going to make a school bus cookie cutter. We're going to make a multi-part school bus where I chop this in half and it becomes a 2-part, and it's all part of everything that I teach. So I'm going to go straight into Cricut. Oh, you know what? I should probably show you. Let me do this first. If you don't have Cricut Design Space, and I'm assuming many of you maybe have a cutting machine, maybe you don't. You can still access Cricut Design Space. You can get a free account. Now, used to be able to do it without a machine. I think you can still get designs or Cricut access without a machine, but they always want you to set up your machine when you get it. Used to, you did not have to have a machine. You could just get it and play around with it. You may still be able to do that. So, can you see my screen? The Cricut screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'm thinking there might be a delay because I'm looking and I don't see it. Well,
yes, there is a delay.
Are you seeing Cricut? Oh, there it is. Okay, there's a long delay. Okay, so you can go to Cricut.com and you can actually create an account. Design Space is free, so you can look at these images and piddle around with this and not have to pay for it. And then the other software, just before we even start, I'm just going to show you. We go after Design Space, we go into CookieCAD. And CookieCAD filament is awesome, by the way. I use it. I also use NewMaker filament. There's Polymaker. There's 2 or 3 that I really like, but it's PLA or PLA Plus. That's what I use. So if you come down here, when you go to cookiecad.com, you can click check it out. And I already have an account. Nathan is so talented and he updates this thing, and these versions get better every time. Right now we're in V3, and you can see down here, I'm already logged in. I have the premium membership, and I don't know what that costs now. I know I used to pay $150 a year for it. It is worth every penny because you can crank out a cookie cutter in a blink. And he has upped the settings. You have a library. You can store your cookie cutters designs in. I mean, look at all these designs. See all these designs that are in my library? These are things that I've done with my club. You can see the different, all the different designs here that we've made. And I store them in my library. I label them in categories, and it's easy to go back and find them. But this is cookiecad.com, and I'm using version 3. And when you open it, if you do, you have to set up an account to use it, even the free version. You will see you're in V3. It opens in V3. The next software that I talk about after Cricut Design Space and CookieCAD is Bambu Studio. So if you're going to get a 3D printer, Cricut Design Space is for a cutting machine. So if you have a Cricut cutting machine, the CookieCAD Designer is for you to actually create the cookie cutter files that we will print using your 3D printer. You have to have a 3D printer, obviously, to print, and you need Bambu Studio if you have a Bambu printer. I love my Bambu printer. It's amazing. It's fast. It prints beautifully. And I've had so many different brands, and this is the one that I would suggest 100%. So when you come to Bambu, let's take a look here. So I have the P1P, that's this one right here. There's no need for you to have that one. I have 10 of these because I print cookie cutters for Cookie-a-thon. But the Bambu A1 Mini is good for people who are starting out. And let me just talk to you for a minute because people get confused. Oops, boy, that's really. So the bed is 7 by 7. You do not need this huge contraption. That's called AMS. You can print. I don't know why that's not letting me scroll down. Wow, that is. Oh, there it goes. So you can see that the A1. Why does it not going to let me overview here? So if you look at the overview of the A1, okay, they've changed their website. This is crazy. I'm sorry. I don't know why it's doing that. So see, this is AMS. If you do the A1 Mini, you'll just have a spool holder for one spool unless you want multiple colors, but I don't suggest that because if you only print once in a while, your filament will sit there and draw moisture from the air and it will go bad. So A1 Mini is great for beginners. It's a 7 by 7 bed. However, if you want to print a lot of cutters at once, you can do the A1. The A1 has the same size bed as my P1Ps. It's 10 by 10. Again, you don't have to have this contraption. You can have a one spool holder. This is an additional purchase. So let's click buy now and see how much these are. Okay, $349 is what these are right now. And so that's the A1. The combo, you don't need this combo. You can get by with the A1 just fine. Oh, there's a coupon code. So A1 Mini is a 7 by 7 bed. A1 is a 10 by 10 bed. I tell people if you're just beginning, you want to do a couple of smaller cutters or one large cutter, maybe a couple medium cutters, then go with the A1 Mini. But the A1 has the bigger bed. All righty, let me go back here. So we're just going to start from the beginning in Cricut Design Space.
And Nancy, are you using Cricut Design Space instead of like a Canva?
I use all of it, but I do use Canva. Yeah. Today I'm using Design Space. Does that answer your? Are you asking me?
Yeah, that was just a question somebody had.
So I teach in the club. I teach how to use a lot of different. We use designs from Canva. We use designs from Creative Fabrica, which has a membership, which is very inexpensive, and there's millions of images. I use Design Space images or Cricut Access images. I use, and these are what I teach with. I teach people how to do this for themselves. So they own these, like they own Cricut Access and they have Creative Fabrica. So they're creating their own from what I'm teaching them. And Silhouette Studio, I teach that also for Cameo users and Cricut users, by the way, because you can use Silhouette Studio to create designs to upload into Design Space and cut on your Cricut. And that's something that's really, really important to me for people to learn once they master their Cricut, because the software for Silhouette Studio is amazing. But you can see all of these designs here. So let me find one that I did. Like, for example, I want to say I used, this was from our artist who draws for the club. This, I believe, was from Canva. And this was from our artist. This one, I think, is from Cricut Access. So I've got all kinds of different images that I've uploaded here. This cookie, I think, was from Canva. So right now, what we're going to be working in is this project. And I'm going to open it. It's already sitting there ready to go. When you have an account at Design Space and you open it up and you click on your project, you can see all of the designs that I have in here. And I admit it, I get my workspace very busy and I try to clean it up when I'm teaching so people don't get overwhelmed by all the designs. But I love all these different designs because Cricut Access has thousands, and I'm like, oh, I like that one. I like that one. I like that one. And I can never make up my mind. So I just keep them there in the layers. But you'll click customize, and I will share this project link. I need to go back and add it somewhere. Maybe on that page that you're going to go to get the downloads, I can add the project link so you can make your own designs if you want to. Because I can share this Cricut Access project with you if you have Cricut Access and Cricut Design Space on your computer or your iPad. If I were to upload a drawing from our club artist into this project, though, I cannot share it because I imported an image into Design Space from outside of Cricut Access. So they do that for copyright and trademark reasons. They don't like for you to be able to share if you like if I imported Mickey Mouse and I tried to share that with you and I paid for Mickey Mouse but you didn't, then that's the copyright trademark thing there. So I can only share projects with club members and anybody else if it has Cricut Access images only. And sometimes people get confused by that. So look at all these apples. They are so cute. I went with this one, and I went with this one, and then these are just extras that I loved, and I just kept them in here. They're all cute shapes. I mean, you could even make this one and leave the heart cut out, which I did do that with some other apples on my own that I drew on my iPad, and I'll show you those here in a minute. But because we don't need these, I'm actually going to group them. And if you hover, see right here, I'm hovering and it'll say group. I'm going to group those. And because I group them now, they're all over here in the layers together. And I can collapse that group and click the I to hide it. And that cleans up my workspace a little bit. So what we're trying to do, and I'm going to zoom in closer so that you can see, and we're going to start with the simple apple first. Whoa, where'd it go? All right. So I typed my name on there. And, you know, sometimes you guys may not have a cutting machine and you like this software and the designs. And maybe you want to use this to project from your projector onto your cookie. You can type the text in here. You can, this is just an extra little tip. You can turn it black if you want to. You can make it huge or you can zoom in on it. Take a screenshot of that. On the Mac, it's Shift Command 4, and I click and drag on a PC. That's going to be your snippet tool. I save that as a screenshot. I put that on in my photos and project it onto the cookie. So you can do that from here as well. So I'm going to hide Mrs. Westfall. We don't, whoops, get back over there. Let me drag over this apple. The way that I found this apple was I simply came over to the left-hand side and I clicked on images. And you can see I was looking for a pencil to put in the graphic up here. I wanted a pencil there, so I had typed in pencil. And I'm going to click the X to clear that out. And you can see I've searched lots of things. So I searched cute apple, and I got all of these apples coming up. And I just went through. Now, most of these have faces, but this apple, because it's not showing up and I want to know what it was without digging everywhere, this actually has been, there's kind of been a problem with Design Space lately. If I come over here and I right click on it, it's not letting me do that. Let me right click here. Let me close this. Sometimes it will let you, I wonder if I ungroup that. It will let you right click and at the bottom it will say image number, but they've removed that or it's not there right now. I've had trouble finding images that way. It just takes me back to this images page. So let's just search the word apple and hope that this one pops up. I know I didn't scroll down too far. I just like the color of that one and the simplicity, but I won't search all day. If I can't find it, we'll use a different one. And I'm not finding it, which disappoints me. But let's use another one, and we'll just do a different cutter. I used to be able to right click, and down here it would say like image number, and you can click on that, and it will tell you what it is. But, okay. How about we do, and I like this one. I chose it because of this stem being larger, the leaf being tucked in here. This we will offset a little bit to close up this corner because I like for my cutters to be more rounded, and I'll show you how to offset. Um, you know what? I don't even really have to bring it in here, but if I click on this, it brings in the apple, and I would not choose this one, you guys, because this is too far apart for me, and even offsetting it, I'm not going to like it. So I would not choose that one, but that's all you do to bring it into your workspace. Then you have to click this little arrow, that little caret there, to close that. Now I don't need this. I'm going to hit delete, and I'm just going to use this one. I don't know why I wasn't thinking I could just use the one I already had. I just was focused on showing you how to bring an image into the workspace. So the first thing I like to do is get this image the size that I would want my cookie to be. And right now this thing is 10 inches wide. So I'm going to put this down to 3.5 inches. I believe that's the cutter size I shared with you. So it's 3.5 by 3.23. And while I'm working on it, I'm going to zoom in here by clicking right down here in this plus sign and using my trackpad to scroll around. You can use the wheel on your mouse if you have one. This is 3.5 by 3.23. If you're making a cutter for yourself, the only reason I resize these basically is if I'm doing a set of cutters, I want to see how they are in proportion to each other. Maybe I want them to fit into a certain size of box. And if that's the case, I'll bring a rectangle in here and I'll actually fit them into the box by coming to shapes and putting in a rectangle. And say my box is 5 inches wide by 7 inches. And then I turn it white. And I actually will, now you can see this apple is on the bottom underneath there, not on the bottom, but I want to bring this apple to the top layer. I can drag the layer up, or because I have a lot of things over there, I go to arrange and bring to front. And now it's on the top. So if I had a 5x7 box, I could fit an apple in here, and Command C, Command V is just copy and paste. I could fit 2 apples in here if I wanted to, and I could probably even make them a little bigger. So that's another tip for you on sizing it to box sizes. Okay. So I'm going to get
Nancy,
rid of,
can I ask you a quick question?
yeah.
Now, everything you're doing in Cricut Design Space, is that available on the free version, or I know you pay for it.
I do. I do pay for it. And so that's a slippery slope question. So if you have the free version, you're supposed to pay for it to access their images. So if you are not paying for it and you take screenshots, you're actually taking the design and you haven't paid for it. I would suggest, to be honest, to pay for Cricut Access. It used to be like $98 a year. It's totally worth it. And then you can use these, for yourself, for your cookies, the cookies that you sell, you can use these that way. But that's one of those questions where, um, it depends on your integrity. And I definitely pay for everything that I use. I just feel bad when I don't, but I would suggest getting Cricut Access. But you can see these for free. But if I went to cut this and I click make it, it would want to charge me for this apple if I did not have Cricut Access. So
Catherine, I'm sorry.
go ahead.
Catherine Donner said from her experience, yes, you can do most things, I guess, in the free version. However, most of the images in Cricut Design Space are not free, and you can purchase separate images. Most are 99 cents, or you can purchase the subscription to Cricut Access to get the images free. You can also import things from outside of Cricut Design Space. So I think we got that.
Yeah, you can import anything you want and use it however you want. But if you're talking Cricut Access images like this one here, you really need to purchase Cricut Access. I would encourage people to be honest and do that because it's an integrity thing if you're going to use their images to make your cutters. When you go to images, you can filter these. I've searched here, right here is the filter button, and you can see free. So if you want to use these images and try it for free, you can click free. Then you can search apple and, oops, sorry. I want to filter by free. It's not filtering. So these are all free. Is it not letting me search? There. So all of these apples are free. So you can see, you could use, I mean, you could use this one, you could use these other ones. So this is free, but not everything is free. It would not try to charge you if you used one of these designs. I bet if I cut this one, it would want to charge me 99 cents if I didn't have Cricut access. So your filter button, guys, is right here if you want to filter for free. And like she said, you can upload your designs from outside of Design Space. But if I did that, I couldn't share this project with you. So, I mean, the link so that you can open the project yourself. Okay, so if you're in here and you're ready to go and you 3.5 inches is what you're cutting, that's the width by 3.23 tall, and you wanted to change it, you can come up here if you wanted it to be even. I really don't care about this as long as one side, either the width or the height is even. That's all I care about. But if you're particular and you wanted this to be exact, you can click that lock to unlock it, put in your new dimension and hit enter, and you've got perfect dimensions here. And it really didn't change the image that much. Sometimes it will change your image though, so watch that. Now, if I were to make this a cutter, what I like to do is press Command and Command C, Command V. That is Control C, Control V on a PC. Because I like to have the apple in here that is the original, because like you saw me search, I could not find the apple and I was going to have to scroll. So I've got an extra one in here for insurance. This is the one I'm going to be working with for my cutter. The first thing I like to do is come up here and I like to turn it black. I want to see the outline, the contour of what the cutter would be. And I'm looking at these areas here, these corners, to make sure, like that's a deep corner. I kind of like to round that out a little bit. And so it's up to you. You're the designer. It's your preference if you want to, smooth things out. If you do, Cricut Access has a tool. You come right up here to offset, right up here at the top, and click on that. And you decide how big you want your offset to be. First of all, do your cookies spread? Do they not spread? Do you want your cookie cutter to be exactly like the shape, or do you want a little, border around it so that you've got room to flood your icing to the end, or maybe leave a little bit of cookie on the edge? I know everybody has their own preference. Now, I'm going to come up here in distance and I'm going to put in 0.1, so 1/10 of an inch. I have rounded corners selected and I want to weld the offset so it just makes one solid shape like the apple. So I'll click enter, but I'm not clicking apply. I'm actually hitting enter or return on my keyboard. That's what that 1/10 of an inch looks like. Now that looks much better. It's not so deep, but I don't even know if it has to be like 1/10 of an inch. Let's try 0.08 and hit enter. I'm not clicking apply. Once you click apply, it applies it. So you'd have to do another offset if you didn't like it. Okay, I'm happy with that. I like that offset. I'll click apply. And now you see we went from the actual apple image, this apple turned black exactly like the image itself. And then here's the one that I offset, 8/100ths of an inch. I'm liking it better because I like how this is rounded out. You may not. You may like this, and that's fine too. So what I did now this automatically turned gray. For me, and this is just my preference, I have found that if I have a big or a contrast image like black and white to put into Cookie CAD, I get a much better trace. Cookie CAD doesn't call it tracing, but they're basically tracing your image and modeling the cookie cutter for you. So I suggest turning it black. And then I'll come over. Now remember, this is my offset. So see, now it's bigger. So I'm going to change that. Let's go back down to 3.5 again. And now we're at 3.5 by 3.26, which is close enough to 3.25. So I'm going to screenshot this, Shift Command 4 on my Mac. I'm going to get in here close and just take a screenshot. Now you may see that pop up in the lower right-hand corner. And that cookie cutter is ready for me to put into Cookie CAD. So what I'll do, and it's going to be on my desktop. So I'll click on Chrome now, and I'm going to go to CookieCAD, and I'm logged in. See the apple right there? That's where I added it previously. So let's add it again. I'll click down here in the lower right-hand corner on Add. Click here or drag files here. I'm going to click, and I want my desktop, and I want this apple. So to preview this, if I can't see it very well, which this one is obvious, I will press the space bar and it will give me a preview. So sometimes if I'm doing a stencil, I've got to click that space bar to see what I'm looking at, because I can't even see it with my contacts in sometimes. But I'll click open. Now you're going to see the screenshot is the title. I'm going to call this Apple so that I can remember 3.5 and wide. Okay, that's 3.5 inches wide. And then I'm going to click accept. You can import into CookieCAD 10 images at a time. So I did all of these, I think, at once, but I'm just doing one at a time for now. If you want to put this, if you have the library and the paid version, you click that, you click edit tags, and I'm going to put, we'll call this, I have a TNL when I go live Thursday. It used to be Thursday night. Now it's just during the day, Thursday live. I'll put it in there to remember because this was live, and I'll click save. And so now I'll always be able to find it in that category. But I want to open this in the designer. So I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to click open in designer. And you're going to see it defaults to millimeters every time. So the first thing I do is come in here and I change this to inches, and I wanted to make this, what was it again? Remember, 3.5 on the longest side, because the width, the height was shorter, but you can choose width and height right here, and you see it makes it the exact same size I had it in Cricut Access. So when you're making sets, if I were to make a piece of notebook paper, a schoolhouse, a pencil, and an apple, and I was really wanting to keep them in proportion with each other, then I know that in Cricut Access, it was that exact size. So we're good. And it's still, it's going to match up with every other cutter. So width and height, that's a new one because it used to be separate, width or height, but I'm going to do longest side. And it's going to match up just fine. Now, this is the default setting right here. CookieCAD has a default setting. I don't know if I can get back to it. Here, CookieCAD default settings. So this is their default setting that Nathan has prepared for you. The blade from the bottom of the cutter to the top is 12.5 millimeters. The thickness he has set, the thickness of this wall is set at 0.8. I like my cutters to have a certain look and a certain feel, and I change my settings from time to time. The most recent setting with his update, I always look for his updates, and I adjust my settings according to that. First, I go to inches. Also, by the way, imprint cutter is going to be the first thing. That's the default. I'm going to, again, because I've been clicking around, see it changed it to the default, so it went back to millimeters. Let's put that 3.5 in there again. Now, because I have the library, I can save my settings. I got lots of settings in here. Sprinkle stencils, the rolled flowers for fondant, and then practice cookie. And you can see all these settings I have in here. But my favorite setting is, and you might want to screenshot it. I share pictures of it in the club, but you might want to screenshot it. So where is my, right here. Okay. This is my favorite setting right now. So I change my settings according to Nathan's updates, because when he updates it, sometimes my prints aren't the same. So I adjust accordingly. So what you're looking at here, and you might want to screenshot this, it's cutter. Of course, the size I wanted my cutter to be, that's on the longest side. These are my settings. I have a name for them. They're saved in my profiles. But right here, blade 16, thickness 1.2. That is this blade right here. Then you have, now let me turn this extra blade off. Okay, so see that blade right there disappeared. Let me turn it back on. I have the depth of this support wall or extra blade at 5 millimeters, 0.4 thickness. This wall right here is the blade itself. It is 16 deep. If you have thick if you have thick cookies, like if you do what 3/8 of an inch, you may want yours to be 20 inches deep or 18 or 17. This is totally preference, and you're the designer. You can do whatever you want. So I set it at 16 and the thickness at 1.2. This is a nice sturdy cutter. You cannot break this cutter. You can melt it in hot water or sunlight, but you can't break it. So the sharp blade, let me turn this off so you can see what that is. All right, see this flat blade here? It works, but Nathan has really updated this to provide this sharp chamfered blade. See that? That is kind of an incline there that creates a cutting edge. And if you look from here to here, this is 2 on, or 0.4 is your tip width, but the chamfer is set at 2. You can see that from here to here. It's a nice, I call it a slope, or it's kind of an incline, I guess, if you're going down, but it's sloped. And then I like my handle to be rounded, but you have a choice. You can make it rectangular if you want to, but I like for mine to be rounded, so I'm leaving it there. The height of my handle I have set at 3.5. So from here to here is 3.5 millimeters. The width of the handle from here to here is 5 millimeters. I used to do 4, which is fine, it works, but 5 is just a little more, gives you a little more area to grip. So that is the setting right here if you want to screenshot that. Now, let me show you another little tip. I'm going to turn on this center bar. If you're a person who likes to label your cutters on the center bar, I just added a center bar that right now is 8. It's 8 millimeters wide, going this direction, back and forth. If you wanted a wider bar, which you might if you're making an imprint cutter, you can widen this bar up. You can even set a vertical bar if you want to, but it's not necessary for this cutter. Neither is the bar itself. But I'm just saying, if you wanted to, you can change it to anything you want. And you could put 3.5-inch apple when you get this into Bambu Studio. So I'm going to turn off this inner bar because I don't want it. I just want the apple itself. Debbie, any questions? Debbie? Okay, never mind, Debbie. So you can download the OBJ or the STL file. Either one of these will work in Bambu Studio. I usually do STL as just a habit, but OBJ works just fine too. And I also, when I do tutorials in the club, I will share the link. So if I share this link and I copy it, I always share these with my club members because maybe they don't want a 3.5-inch apple. Maybe they want a 3-inch apple or a 2-inch apple for minis. All they have to do is click my link. This will open for them. They come right up here and they change this size to a 2-inch apple. And that's what they can adjust my settings with my link. And so I always share the links to hundreds of cookie cutters. So you can make whatever you want just by clicking the button.
Hey, Nancy, sorry about that. I had a sneezing attack, so I put myself on mute and forgot to take myself off. We're good so far.
Okay, that's okay. I thought maybe you had to step away for a minute. I just didn't want to be leaving anybody behind if they're confused.
No, we're good. Watching.
Okay. So sharing the link is one way to share this cutter with people. Another way is to click download STL. Oh, and let me say, you have to decide who you want to share the link with, the STL file. So you can share with anybody you want. And normally my clip art that that our artist makes for the club, I share that clip art too, so people have it. But I purchase it and it still belongs to the artist, but it's mine to share. So I do share that clip art. I don't share clip art from Design Space. I'll share the project with.
We do have a question. Sue wants to know, can you print the name of the shape right on the cutter?
Yeah, I'll show you how.
Okay.
So now that I've clicked to save, you can see right up here, it says Apple 3.5 wide cookie CAD. So when I do this, I always start it with the CC, Apple 3.5. I'll take that W off of there. And I just put IN just so that I know it's inches, and I put it in the software to create the cutter, and it comes in just like with this name. So The apple cutter file is here. I'm going to choose that. And I may already have one called that. Do I? No. Okay. So you see that ends in STL. Well, the first thing that we did in Design Space when we save that screenshot, my computer saves it as a PNG. So we first save the PNG. If you have a PC, it might save a JPEG. I don't know. But JPEG works for CookieCAD also. So that PNG that we made using the Apple in the Design Space or Cricut Access software, now we've put that into CookieCAD and we've created an STL file. See this STL? So now we've got the STL file that is the modeled cookie cutter. But we've got one more step to take before we can tell our printer, hey, print this cutter. It has to change this STL file into something it can read. So we went from the PNG, which is over here, the screenshot PNG. Now we're saving the STL file, which is a cookie cutter 3D printable file. So I'm going to click save. And that one is done. Okay. Now, those steps I just took for this cutter are the same steps I take every single time. So when we do go back to Design Space, I'll show you how I came up with those other images because I did modify them, but I won't go through these steps again. So if you wanted to screenshot this, do that now so that you'll have it. And I'll give you just a minute for that.
Okay, and Donna says when I share the link, I get a paragraph full of stuff. Do you know what she's talking about?
Yes, and you do, Donna, if you're thinking that you don't see all that stuff when I share the link, it's because I link it to wording. So for example, let me see. Hang on. Let me see if I can show you guys. Okay, so view. So this is the club library. I think what Donna's talking about might be this. So you can see I have current month's tutorials. This is the preview. If people preview for 14 days, they see I've got 3 tutorials there. But what Donna's talking about, and I know I just did it last month, the birthday ice cream tutorial. I think, is this what you mean, Donna? Like, see how that says double dip? All they do is click on it and it opens in CookieCAD Designer. That is because I actually link it to that text. But here's what Donna is saying. If you don't link it to text and you say share link and copy, let me open